All right, started.
All right. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2020. And this is the Kubernetes CSI implementation meeting. So first up on our agenda, let's go through our 118 and 119 status updates. So first on 118, we've pretty much released all the sidecars. The last thing remaining is to update the documentation and also add the 118 CI jobs. So those are all in progress and should be able to merge, I think, by this week. So that's looking in good shape. Moving on to 119. There's a new 119 board now, thanks to Jan, and we've also populated all the stuff that we didn't get done in 118 to the 119 board, and I've also added a number of the different projects that we're tracking for 119. So just as a reminder, May 5th is the enhancements freeze for 119. That is when KEPs need to be approved and merged. And so far, out of the 119 features we're tracking, the only one I have down is moving Windows to beta. If there's any other features that we want to graduate to alpha, beta, or GA in 119, we should figure them out now and make sure we get going on the KEPs.
So the the data populator stuff could move to beta if we can address the outstanding issues, and that's something I intend to spend time on during this release. I don't know if we'll actually get to beta in this release, but we want to make progress on it.
Okay, that sounds good. I think it's okay if we don't get it in this release, but definitely would be good to get movement on it.
So we should do any of the KEP related work before the deadline, as if it was going to beta. Is that?
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay.
If we do think we have a chance at making the beta, we should you know, go through all the motions.
Okay. So that'll require me coming up with the design and having the meetings and all of those things.
Yep.
I will have some time. I just don't know how much to dedicate to that.
And that's fine. You know, we'll just make progress and it'll land eventually.
Okay.
So.
I have two items. One was the FS group. Yeah, in the this will be alpha feature. I have to open a KEP actually for this.
Oh, this is FS group for CSI.
Yeah. So.
Okay. This all right. Sounds good.
I need to create a KEP.
There's also the studio pool. I think Patrick will try to go to alpha, so we'll see.
Okay. And we're having a design meeting for that this Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, yeah, so as far as this this list here, everything else is pretty much staying in its current phase, and we're just making improvements to get things to the next milestone.
I might need a meeting for resizing this thing because we ran out of time in the last meeting, and then last week was this thing. The Thursday is taken by the storage pool, so I might schedule on Friday, which day works for everyone here on the call because Ben is here as well. or Wednesday, whichever day. So the main item things to, sorry.
Oh yeah, my mornings are pretty open this week.
Okay, I can schedule same time, the 12 to 1 or 1 to 2, like EST I'm talking about. Ben, and saying what time works for you? Like, does Wednesday work, for example?
Let me check. I know my Fridays are open. Wednesday, let's see. Wednesday also open from, that's what, the U 9 o'clock Pacific time. That is open for me. So both Wednesday and Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time works for me.
Okay, it's right now, what's time? It's 10 o'clock. So 9 a.m. is like 12 o'clock. Okay, perfect.
Right.
Ben, just.
The noon Eastern on Wednesday or Friday is acceptable.
Okay, cool. I'll schedule a meeting. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So going through our 119 in progress stuff, one of the things that's going on is we are going to update external attacher and external provisioner to use the V1 CSI node objects and to make sure all of the objects that we use are all of the V1 versions. So we are going to remove support for the beta versions. That's going to need a new major version bump in both of these two components. One of the drivers for that is we are trying to add conformance tests, Kubernetes conformance tests, to make sure that this Kubernetes distributions will support CSI. And one of the requirements for conformance tests is that you can't use any V1 beta APIs. They all have to be V1. So while we are making that major version bump, we are going to make a number of other breaking changes to the external provisioner to try to like clean up some of the flags and options and stuff like that. So there's a couple more PRs that are in progress being tracked to do that.
When you move to V1, does that require any driver changes, or driver still works?
No.
Okay.
Driver still works the same.
Okay.
So like from a driver perspective, they don't have to change anything in the implementation. Really, the main thing that's changing is when we move to V1, that will limit the Kubernetes versions that are supported. So the minimum version will become 117 or something like that, because that's when CSI node went V1.
Okay, I thought you mentioned something for maybe that CSI driver. There's some future change. Seems like driver needs to make some changes in the future because the kubelet will make some change.
Oh yeah. So in this PR, I also listed a bunch of deprecations, and one of the things that we deprecated in kubelet was the behavior. The Kubernetes was creating the mount directory before calling node publish. And that behavior we have deprecated in Kubernetes, which means that if your driver was depending on Kubernetes to create the target directory for you, it's no longer going to do that. So, and this is actually what the CSI spec says, like Kubernetes was doing it wrong. The CSI spec said that it's the driver's responsibility to create the mount directory.
Okay, so in what?
But this is sort of unrelated to the sidecars. This is because this is a node publish thing.
Okay. in what release that the driver needs to make this change? Deprecate.
We are probably going to make the change in 119.
119, okay.
All right. I think so. The other effort that's going on, I think this cycle is we're gonna try to move our sidecar image publishing over to GCR because this is GCR is what the Kubernetes project is supporting. So I think Patrick has been sort of guiding that effort to migrate our build infrastructure over. And one of and I think the other thing that we're also trying to accomplish at the same time as moving over our image repo, is to also enable building and potentially publishing multi-arch images, as well as Windows images as well. All right, so going down the list of other projects that we have on our 119 list, one is Windows Beta. I think Jing and Deep are going to continue working on that, and I've asked them to populate this board with all of their beta items. Next up, we have Volume Health. I believe Saad reviewed and gave some more feedback.
Yeah, so he has already given a look to me. So James have more comments, and then I also address. So he also gave look good to me. So I think it's good now. I don't know if Saad will wait for Jie and I think Julian, but otherwise it's good to go. So that's
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so so once that's merged, we'll try to continue to work on the controller and the agent monitor side change.
Okay.
So this one we want to make it, although the caps merge, we want to make this one. So it's alpha still.
Mm-hmm. All right, sounds good. Next up, we have Snapshots.
Yeah, so I think Xiangqian discovered some bugs. He has been fixing it. Xiangqian, you want to talk about those?
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I was testing this Worm Snapshot beta new controller and discovered 3 bugs so far. More related to deletion. I have listed all the bugs over there, and I had a PR in progress. Soon, please take a review. Please take a look. If anyone else has time, please take a look. So those will be fixed in 119. And the other thing is that the metric stuff, I have started working on the utility library. I think Michelle still has some comments. I replied. That's all from my side, I think, at this moment for 119.
Sounds good. Do you think these deletion bugs are worth creating a patch release for? Instead of waiting for the next?
Yeah.
I definitely think we should, because one of the bugs is pretty dangerous. It allows deletion of a snapshot cascade to deletion of a snapshot content, which doesn't point back to the snapshot.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty
other than
serious.
Yeah, other than that, the other 2 seems to be okay-ish. But the other one, I'm a little concerned. I also discussed with Shin. We can take a look better on that and make a move on that.
Xiangqian,
sounds good.
It seems like you fix all 3 together. I mean, is it possible to separate them, or you think it's they're all addressed. They have to be addressed together.
It is not very convenient to fix them one by one because most of the logic that introduce the bug sits in the same function.
Okay, yeah, I see
So
that
that's
the
the reason why
the first two.
Yeah, that's the reason why I have a one big PR.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise, I would have done it separately because the problem is that if I done it separately, I'll introduce a whole bunch of conflicts.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sounds good. And do you think these scenarios would be good candidates to have E2E tests for as well?
I definitely would recommend having the E2E test for deletion workflow, especially for bidirectional binding. I don't think we have enough testing at all for that case.
Okay. Do we have like, can we start an issue or something to just list all the E2E test cases we want to add? And
yeah,
then we
so
can
we can
start.
We already have quite a few listed, and then Grant, and then I think there's somebody else. They have started working on those. So we can add more. So now we have more cases we want to cover. Yeah, just open one issue for each.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to propose. I'm going to open an issue in the snapshot report and list all the end-to-end tests, and then have separate issues tracking for each of them. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
That makes it more clear that what do we cover.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Awesome.
So before we move on, can we also track the issue that I filed against the snapshot?
I'm working on the
as a 119 item.
Requeue, right? Requeue. I think it is somewhere here.
Issue 225.
Is that Requeue? Requeue, you see that is here, there. The snapshot.
Yeah, it's related to the requeuing.
Yeah.
The issue is the race condition that affects timing that can make it take a very long time for the snapshot to appear.
Yeah, so it's there is an issue, and also see the left hand side. That's I'm working on that. So I will pick up the one.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it is tracked here. It's just not on the to-do, the high-level to-do list.
Yeah, it is somewhere. I'll put it out. So that is something that I'm working on next. So I will I have a PR that I submitted some time ago, like halfway through. So I will update that PR to start fixing this. Yeah.
All right, and if we need to get together and talk about that one again, I'm happy to discuss it, because I'm afraid that fixing it may require some fairly significant changes to the.
Yeah, I actually last time when I was fixing the create snapshot timeout issue, I tried to do that by removing the that go routine thing. But I think that's a little bit risky at the end, right before we are cutting release. So remove that change. So I'm going to work on that next.
Okay, yeah, it is kind of a high risk thing to do. So earlier in the release would be the right time to work on it.
Yeah, I will.
Are we talking about the requeue thing?
Yeah, the requeue. Yes.
Yeah, we definitely need that.
Yeah.
As well.
So,
and sooner in the release is better than later, because it's a risky thing.
Yeah, so that one will be won't be like in this. So Xiang Chen's fix will go in first. We need to cut a release for that, but this one will take more time to test.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but we have we already the last release was the 2.1. We created a branch for it, right? So
yes,
these
so it
fixes.
Work. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's going to be 2.1.1. Go back. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Thanks for all the hard work on snapshots. All right, next up, we have volume expansion. I think we kind of talked about this. I guess, Hamad, you're going to schedule a meeting on that.
On Wednesday, 12 to 1.
All right, sounds good. So that's all I have, mostly tracking for 119. On the to-do list for 119, I also put down a couple of long outstanding bugs that we've had that I think we need to also keep our eye on. I think I've been noticing more people reporting issues with the scaling of CSI attachments. And then I think as more people use ephemeral volumes, I think we're starting to see some of these issues around Kubernetes code, assuming things are mount points and things like that. So we'll have to sort of keep our eye on it, and these might become higher priority as we get more adoption. All right, so moving to miscellaneous topics, we have this PR that needs attention. Which one is this?
Yeah, I added this one. So
Okay.
So the thing is, like, you CC'd me. So the thing is that we remove the data directory, which turns out to be the whole volume directory when the saving of the data file fails. I think it's dangerous because it's like the code was written with the assumption that's a green field volume, but that may not be true, and it might already have data on it, and it removes the entire the the volume path, and that's kind of
Any call to remove all is very scary and has caused data loss in the past. So
yeah. So
definitely, I think this is a good thing to get rid of.
the problem is that we cannot just simply not do removal also, because it will result in problems. Like, maybe we can talk in PR offline, but the
Do
reason
we, yeah, do we keep, I mean, do we know everything that's under this directory? Like, do we control everything? It should only be the target path plus any files we create, but we wouldn't expect the plugin to actually put their own files in here either, do we?
Why can't the plugin put files in there?
Yeah, plugin can put files there. Yeah.
But like, so say if mount fails, we have your fix to mark the volume as uncertain, right? So shouldn't that cause node unpublished to be called, and then the plugin has to clean up their stuff?
Not in case of when the save data thing fails. That step is called even before staging or anything happens. So it's like that is, yeah, that
Well,
volume is not
if it's before staging happens, then the plugin can't have put stuff there.
not if it was
Unless it was a retry.
Yeah, or it was mounted from some other node. The volume was in use on some other node, and now something is, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll need to investigate this more closely, but like definitely we should, when we clean up, we should only clean up things that Kubernetes owns, and we shouldn't be as cleaning up things that the plugin might own. We'll need to see how we can fix the issue, the uncertain issue here.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. I'll keep an eye on it. I was thinking about it. I'll think if there's some other way we can fix this. But yeah.
Okay. Sure. I'll go ahead and assign you to it. All right. Let's see. Other miscellaneous topics. One thing that I was thinking of for just like cleanup of our repo is to consolidate all of our changelog files into a folder, because we've had quite a few releases now, so there's quite a few changelog folders that are racking up. And I noticed that in Kubernetes itself, they also recently did that too, to consolidate all their changelog folders. So,
oh, that's nice.
yeah,
they were accumulating in the root, and it was quite annoying.
Yeah. So, yeah, if there's no objections, I think, yeah, maybe this is something we can just quickly do in all of our repos to just move them all.
I guess the only question is, could it break any tooling?
Our release notes, I think, have a link to it. So we'll have to sort of re-update the release notes, I guess. But I think those can be updated after the fact. So we should be okay. I'm not hearing any objections, so I'll say let's do it. All right. Next up, Ben, you wanted to talk about the snapshot CRDs?
Yeah, well, so I raised this issue an hour ago in the snapshot meeting, and Jing suggested that this might be a better venue to discuss this topic. So what I'm noticing that as 117 versions of various distros are coming out, that some of them include the snapshot CRDs and controller, and some of them do not. And I'm worried about, in the long term, this model of optional features, sitting out on the side that you can install or not install, and what it's going to mean with all the different distros and different decisions being made. And I'm wondering who is focused on addressing this problem, at a high level. Like, I'm seeing it with snapshots. I'm imagining we're going to add a bunch more features over time that are all going to have this kind of problem, where we need to push distros to include them or have some sane way of making them available such that it's not distro dependent.
Yeah, it's difficult for things that are not core features because we can't really have conformance tests for them.
Yeah. But this seems to be the canary in the coal mine. This is the first one that's really being delivered separately, as far as I can tell.
I mean, well, so there's other like sort of Kubernetes add-ons, kind of, like Istio and all the other service meshes and stuff, and different distros will choose to bundle whichever one they like the most. It's sort of similar, sort of. But this is like, CSI is a little funny because it's like part of CSI is part of the core, but then another part of CSI is not part of the core. So it's definitely a strange.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we're developing it as part of, core Kubernetes storage. Like, this is the way to do snapshots, and there aren't other ways. Right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think this is something that we should definitely bring up with SIG architecture, because I think everything is basically like, the sort of long-term vision is that everything is developed outside of Kubernetes.
Yeah.
But then just because everything is developed outside of Kubernetes doesn't mean they are truly, like, I don't know, optional. Like, we should be able to include, quote, out of tree features as part of conformance or something. So
yeah, there needs to be a new line drawn that somehow is bigger than the existing line, but includes things like these optional controllers and CRDs, I guess. And snapshots doesn't worry me so much because it's a relatively small one, but I can see this being repeated over and over in the coming releases and it becoming a bigger problem.
Yeah, I definitely agree. maybe I can take an action item to try to follow up with SIG architecture on this. I think this is gonna like sort of be sort of a combination of that involves, you know, some sort of different kind of conformance profile to include some of these. And like the only way I can really see distros moving towards including these is if we have some sort of conformance stick to say,
Okay.
like, you know, we
So,
have this as part of the conformance, some sort of conformance test. So that would sort of compel distros to include things like this.
and then my next question was going to be, in the absence of that, is there a way that we're sort of evangelizing or encouraging the inclusion of specifically the snapshot stuff? Like, or is it just we throw it out there and hope people notice?
I think it's just in terms of, I think we need pressure from the CSI drivers, I guess. Like we need pressure from the CSI vendors, and we need pressure from from Kubernetes users that want to use these features.
Yeah. Okay.
Like from a project standpoint, I feel like we have done an okay job in terms of evangelizing as much as we can. Like we've created blog posts for the snapshots feature. We've, you know, to highlight it. And
well, I'm thinking that, you know, NetApp in particular has an interest in snapshots, and we have relationships with some of these companies, and we could be using our muscle to sort of to push this. But I didn't know if there was a central, you know, a coordinated effort to do that, or if we should just go around and use, you know, our own connections to try to make these things happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for now, there's not really a central place. The main central thing I could think of is the Kubernetes conformance tests. But without that, I think our main option is just sort of both user and vendor pushing to get the distros to include things.
Should we like have maybe a feature matrix of CSI drivers? I know we have a page where we track CSI drivers. Maybe we should have a on the same thing what features they support, and the less check boxes it checks, probably its customers puts more features to add. At the same time, the driver themselves put pressure on the Kubernetes distro to include the latest version of the CSI.
So Hemant, you're thinking of a table that lists the like some enumeration of all the distros we know about and the features?
I was thinking that the table, right, currently we list CSI drivers, like, but what features that driver supports, like there's
well, we do have a column for that already.
Yeah, I thought that the CSI driver table had some notion of like a feature support matrix, but I'm more worried about the distros at this point.
Right.
Yeah, for drivers that work across all the distros and all the environments, like it's hard to, you know, it's like the driver supports snapshots, but then the actual environment that you're running, the distro you're running in may not. So it's, there's not too much the driver vendor can really do to, you know, besides push the distro to go and support it.
I mean, and at the very least, we're realizing we're going to have to like have a check in our installer that says, you know, if the distro does have it, install the snapshot or sidecar. But if it doesn't have the CRDs, don't even install the sidecar, because it's just going to go into a crash loop, and it's going to be ugly. So, like, we weren't anticipating having to do that, but it seems that we do have to do that.
Just to be clear, the sidecar will not crash. I agree with you. That's an ugly situation, though. But Michelle, I have a question. What does it take to get a conformance test?
So currently, it's very limited and very restricted. To be in conformance, the feature has to be GA. It has to only use V1 APIs. There's another laundry list of requirements that the test needs to meet. So in its current form, it's not possible to add snapshots to conformance. But I do know the conformance effort is looking at things like optional or preview or extended or beta types of test suites. So that might be a good candidate where we can potentially include some of these things.
Is it ongoing effort that an issue project somewhere?
I don't know if there's a single issue, but there definitely is a Kubernetes conformance group, and they meet every week. And they should have public meeting notes and stuff.
I would
But yeah,
just want to.
I'll
Sorry.
take an action item to follow up with SIG, Arch, and the conformance folks to see if we can maybe do something.
Because yeah, if we do really move to a mode in the future where everything's sort of developed outside of the tree, this is going to be a huge problem.
Agree.
I just quickly want to backtrack. I think it might be worth doing while, like, I don't know, like allowing the distros to like say that, okay, they support CSI features, because it will be eventually that, like, I know that eventually each distro is supposed to have its own documentation about how things work, but whether it implements support for CSI, which version of spec it supports, it might be not a
What
bad
do you
idea.
mean? You mean put that on our document, the CSI doc, add a page for the distro? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like similar to page that we have drivers page. Is that bad idea? I don't know.
Maybe worth considering.
Yeah, maybe this way they have some pressure.
They'll definitely have
competitors or something.
They'll definitely have a pressure, and they'll also have a pressure to clarify, okay, what version they support, some kind of confirmation. Obviously, we cannot validate the stuff they put easily.
Yeah, but if they claim they support, then people can file back if it does not support, right?
Yeah, I think the main problem is that it's for many distros, like they may not have public bug trackers and stuff that we can point to. Like usually on our drivers page, the drivers usually go to like either their support page or the GitHub page, and then people can file issues there.
Yeah, sure, but we'll just drop the support in that case. We'll just cross it out if there are bugs, known bugs. And I don't know. Yeah, but it could help, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah.
Well, we can take a look at how many currently conformant distros there are. I guess, I mean, right now our drivers page has like, I don't know, 70 or something drivers.
Yeah, keep growing.
I'm just wondering if we also add a page for COs, like we're gonna get a lot of PRs, a lot more PRs too. But yeah, we'll see. We can think about it, I think. I think first, I think a bigger, like a more influential stick would be having a conformance test more than our drivers page or our CSI documentation page. I think probably more people pay attention to conformance more than our page.
And we should think about the carrot side too, with you know, as there get to be more of these things, and you know, if there's a bazillion distros out there that need to support it, make it really easy for all of them to just do it. So
yep,
so people aren't replicating effort.
Yep.
I mean, it's so easy to install the snapshot support, right? It's like what, 5 YAML files you shove in and you're done.
Yeah.
But
I think
we
some
don't
of
want...
it might just be like awareness. Like
Yeah.
some distros just might not realize that this is something they have to do.
Exactly, and that's my worry, is that it's just being overlooked right now.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I feel like we've tried to make that clear, at least like in our blog posts and in our documentation and stuff, that this is something distros need to do. But if they're not, fully paying attention and reading everything thoroughly, then it can be easy to miss.
Yeah, I think the wrong people are reading the blog posts, because distros aren't jumping on this.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, if we can try to come up with some coordinated effort here. But in the meantime, I'll be agitating various distros to try to get snapshots in particular added.
Yeah, I think that's the best plan for now, and agree that this is also this is sort of a bigger problem, I think, in general. So
yeah,
I think definitely we should involve SIG architecture and get some guidance on this overall. All right. Any other topics? All right, then we'll end the meeting for today. Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
You.